progress.
Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem. Bruchim Abam. We're continuing Mishna Berura. Daf Hashavua. We're learning Siman Samach Beis. The end. We just finished Siman Samach Beis. So now today we begin Siman Samach Gimel. Siman Samach Gimel. Leishev b'shas Kriya Shema v'leishan. One should sit during Kriya Shema, and one should not sleep. Okay, guys? Also during Mishna Berura, they could be sitting, standing, driving, but not sleeping. It says in Mechaber, Koirei oisa mahalech. You could read Shema walking, oy oimed, or standing, oy shoichev, or lying, oy roichev al gabe behema, or riding on an animal, oy yoishev, or sitting on an animal. Avaloi parakdan. Not parakdan. Parakdan means with your face forward on the floor or on the ground. Dahainu shapanav tuches bakarka, with your face sort of stuck into the ground. Ay mushlach al gabe panav mala, or lying straight up with your back on the bottom and your face up. So, and now we're going to learn, in general, you should not be in either of those two positions. Those positions are not optimal. Aval koirei, you read it, v'hu shoichev al tzidai. You could read it lying on your side. Haga umeyacher shekvar shoichev, and once you're already lying, v'ika tircha lamed. In other words, the reason why you're allowed to say it in these positions, let's say, for example, lying down, is because you're already lying and it's a tircha to get up. So basically, like we learned from the pasuk uvlech t'chavadarach, that in any position that you find yourself in, and the reason is why you could say Shema lying down is because you're already in that position. It would be a tircha to while you're already in that position to get up. Mahalech ayin lekama misif gimel. Now, this din that you're allowed to say Shema walking is when you're traveling. By the way, except for the first pasuk. But when you're davening in a shul, you're not to be walking. You have to stay in one spot. There is no greater kalos roish than to be walking around. You have people, they pace during the davening. Why do they do that? I don't know. Maybe they have anxiety and it's very hard for them to sit. So maybe they could get a certain medication to take care of their, or maybe they're worried about something, or they have to do exercise. The doctor says they have to do exercise. But there's plenty of time to do exercise. You don't have to use davening for them. However, it's interesting, the Tairas Chaim of Rabbi Chaim Seif, he brings, you don't even, when you're davening in shul, you're not required to stand or to stop, even in the first pasuk. And he says it's a mavur in the Medrash Tanchuma that Tosfos brings in brachos. So maybe there is some justification for those who are, they're pacing back and forth, but ideally one should be stationary. Okay. Prakdan, va'afilu muta ma'adal tzida gamken aser. The din of prakdan, that you can't be face down, is even if you're a little bit on the side. Because even if you're not mamish face down, but face down on the side, it looks like you're accepting the yoke of heaven in a arrogant type of way. Now it's interesting, what about to go to sleep in such a position? The Sha'ar Tzion brings in Siman Reish Lamed Tes that it is asur. Furthermore, even if one is already sleeping, Rabbi Yosef Chaim Zanefeld says, you have to wake up the guy so that he doesn't come to sin sleeping in such a position. So you see a guy sleeping face down, you have to wake them up. However, Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky says you don't have to wake him up. What about to rest that way, not at the time of Kriya Shema? Rabbi Yosef Chaim Zanefeld says, if there's no chashash that you're going to fall asleep, it's mutter. Likewise, Rabbi Yosef says, the Chazoiner says it's asur. So that's again facing face down. I guess the nafkamina would be also, people want to, let's say you want to read, and you want to rest straight, with your back down on the pillow, straight up. Are you allowed to do that? That probably is a typical position that somebody would want to rest in, you know? I understand you sleep on the side, but it's hard to read on the side, you know? So it seems like there's basis that you're allowed to do that. Rabbi Yosef Chaim Zanefeld and Rabbi Yashiv say it's mutter. Chazon Ish said it was aser. If I remember correctly, Reb Chaim once had to have a certain procedure, and it required him to be lying on his back, and he didn't want to do it, and Rabbi Yashiv told him he could. Rabbi Yashiv told him he could. Okay. Weiter. Ve'eno yachal. Sivkatan dalid. If someone, weiter in the Mechaberim. Hoya bal basar harbet. What if somebody is very corpulent? Or what's a politically correct way of saying this? He's weight challenged. Ve'eno yachal his hapech al tzidai. He can't turn on his side. Oisha yachayla. Then noitima al tzidai v'karei. So someone who's very fat, and he can't get totally on his side, or he's sick, he could turn a little bit to his side. Says Mishna Berura yachal, avam yachal asav al tzidai, if he could get to his side, afil rag pasuk rishon levad, even just for the first pasuk, mechuyev la'asos kein, he's obligated to do this. V'chosh keinim yachal akroisa b'yeshiva, and all the more so if he could say it sitting up. Sif Beis. Misha writes lahachmer lama kshu yoshev v'lakroisa me'umad nikra avaryan. Let's say someone is lying down. I'm sorry. Let's say someone is sitting down, and he wants to be makbid. He wants to be machmer and say it's standing up. After all, it says uveshachbecha when you lie down, uvkumecha when you get up. So he wants to be machmer and say Shema when he is standing up. So someone who wants to be machmer and say Shema standing up, nikra avaryan, he's called a sinner. Says in Mishna Berura, Misha Roitza, the halacha kebeis Hillel, the halacha is like Beis Hillel, the sfira lahu, he holds, the hadachsev uvkumecha, that which it says uvkumecha, ein hakavana ba'amida, kedas beisham, it doesn't mean standing like beisham, it means at a time when a person generally gets up from his bed. V'asor lo lahachmer lasas kebeisham, it is prohibited to be machmer like beishamai. Why? The Shitim Kubetza says in Brachas Yud Aleph Amid Aleph, because maybe others will be kavelach lebeishamai, and people will come to bitul kriya Shema, because maybe a person will say, you know, if I can't be leaning in the night, I won't say it. The Shulchan Aruch Harav says that since according to Beis Hillel, there's no maila standing, and you're being machmir to stand, it looks like you're not concerned for Beis Hillel. This is not like other chumrais that were machmir for whatever reason and something the chumar mekel. Because by other chumras, even the chachamim are moideh that it might be better the other way. Fine. So you're not allowed to be machmir and stand to say Shema during the day. Let's say you're not standing to do like Beis Shammai, but you're falling asleep. It's Yom Kippur morning. You're conking out. You don't have your cup of coffee. You want to stand up to say Shema because you don't want to fall asleep. It's prohibited to do that. So now, the lashon of the Mishna Berura is you're standing up to be ma'ira your kavana. But what if you're standing up so as not to fall asleep? The Kaf HaChaim brings from the Chesed Alafim it's mutter. What? And if you stand up already from Abba Rabba, Shal Shuvas Levushay Mordechai says you could remain standing. If in the middle of Kriya Shema you hear Kadosh or Baruch Hu, Reb Chaim says you could stand. Okay. Uvein b'yom uvein b'layla. You're not allowed to stand in the day or the night. So you say, why can't I stand in the night? The whole reason I can't stand in the day, because it looks like I'm being machmir like Beis Shammai, who says I have to say the Kriya Shema of the Yom Ba'amida. But Beis Shammai doesn't say to say the Kriya Shema of the Laila Ba'amida, so why can't I stand during the night? The Beis Yosef says, because if you stand for Kriya Shema during the day, you're over on Beis Hillel, and you're doing like Beis Shammai, and at night, you're not doing like anyone. Because according to Beis Shammai, you're not allowed to stand at night. So you're not even doing like anyone. So you can't stand even at night. Fine. If you said Shema standing during the day, you do not have to repeat it. Okay? We'll hold it over here and wish everyone a wonderful day.
Recording stopped.